Alright, look, it's confession time. Today we are righting a wrong. A cardinal sin has been committed. There was, in fact, a Necromunda model on Monday, which I missed. We actually had a Necromunda model, and we didn't cover it. I just didn't realise it had happened, which, to be fair, I was distracted by a dwarf with a glorious moustache, which, these things can preoccupy the mind. What a weird sentence to say out loud. Anyway, this is Silberland Sevos, which I'm sure most people won't struggle to say that name, but for me, for whatever reason, that is a challenge. And Silberland Sevos, god damn it, is in fact the greatest whisper merchant of all. Don't worry, I'm not going to whisper the whisper merchant part every time. Well, maybe. I might do it every time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You might get whispers, if you're lucky. Well, unlucky. Silky Lips Steve is a former House Van Saar ganger who decided to try and merge his mind with the sacred STC at the heart of House Van Saar, which sounds like a terrible idea. And obviously it was a terrible idea because Slumlord Slimo is now confined to a dispenser chair, having wrecked himself. And obviously House Van Saar wasn't happy and just chucked him out, literally in the bin. Luckily, it wasn't a total disaster. He can feel the electronic souls around him and even manipulate servitors, so it could have been worse. And this is him. I mean, to be fair, he's doing alright for himself. You know? I feel like he's doing okay. It could have been much more of an absolute disaster than it turned out to be. He's got a scavenged, put together like dispenser chair, which, I mean, it looks pretty cool. It does look scavenged. It doesn't necessarily look like he sat down and planned this from the start. There's clearly a cobbled together from junk sort of feel to it, but I mean, it makes sense given the character, doesn't it? And he's managed to come back from being obliterated by an STC and then thrown out into the bin. Overall, I think he's doing alright for himself. Taking everything into consideration, being a bit emaciated with a bunch of cables plugged into you whilst you float around the place taking control of other people's electronics, it's not the worst. It's not the worst. I like the chair itself. It does look quite ramshackle, but it does look quite cool. I'm not a big fan of the way it's made to look, like, suspended in midair. It sort of looks like it's got legs from this angle. That might be something that's not as big a problem, depending on, like, where you look at it from, but from this angle, it kind of looks like it's got two little legs, which is not actually how it works. Sylvester Stallone himself does look pretty good. Obviously hard to make out detail on parts of the body because, well, we can only really see his torso, his arms, and the lower half of his face. Everything else is cables or chair. I do like that big sort of mechanical, I don't know, like technomancer sort of helmet hood thing that he's got going on. That's quite cool. Looks a little bit alien-esque. In fact, that whole arrangement over his head and the cables around the neck and kind of the stitching and plugging into the arms and the chest, that feels a little bit sort of Geiger-inspired. I don't know if I'd say that the rest of the chair is as well, although it's certainly got a quite like heavy-duty kind of industrial feel to it, which is fun. And little things like having that bit of like treaded metal that's just welded onto the side of the chair, that's a nice detail. I like that. The servo skull reading over his shoulder is a lovely touch. I like that a lot. I also really want to know if that's attached via a cable or whether that is a free-floating servo skull that has a cable like trailing behind it. Something we're unlikely to get the answer to until full like 360-degree pics are put up on the Warhammer site, but for now it's just best guesses. Answers on a postcard. Or in the comments section, that's probably more sensible. Overall, I quite like this lad. I quite like him. So there you go, balance has been restored. We've taken a look at Silberland Sevos. I hate the name. I hate it. I can't say it. I don't know why. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. There'll be a stream later. I have no idea what it's going to be about at all. We'll decide close to the time. I've got nothing for you right now. I can't even properly pronounce the name of a character on the screen, let alone think that far into the future. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you for the next one.